'cause I know that it's something real. Gonna say how I feel, 'cause I know that it's something real. Hey, hey. Gonna say how I feel, 'cause I know that it's something real.
Hi everybody, how are you? Good to see you guys. So glad you're here today. Happy International Day of Happiness. Yep, that's what today is. Oh, it's good to see everybody. We've got Green Rumor, which is Larry. Hi Larry, nice to have you here. Hi Angie. Gloria's here. Hi Gloria. Hi Deirdre. Hi Julie E. Thanks for the live chat reminder to everybody. Let's see, Donna's here, and Deirdre's here, and Gloria. Gosh, I think Julie E. Yay! Everybody's having a good time. Checking in. Donna Panis is here. She had to go grab a beverage. That's a good idea. Beverage. I have water today. Water. I need a lot more. I think I didn't drink enough water. My eyes are all kind of blurry, which means I'm usually dehydrated. And there is aloha to Helen. Yay, she's here. Did you see Janice? I didn't see Janice. Oh, there's Janice. She snuck in. There she is. Good to see you guys. I'm a Taurus and Aries born on the cusp. I'm a Taurus. Yes. Julie E. Taurus, May 17th, Norwegian Independence Day, Norwegian Constitution Day. It's really bad. Yes, my grandfather had always kind of wanted a grandson, but then I was born on Norwegian Constitution Day or Norwegian Independence Day. He threw a party. May 17th, that's me. And so, yeah, and it's a big deal. Yeah, for a man named Ole Melby. Yeah. So Norwegian is always fun. Oh, yes. Nice. Well, you're welcome. It was fun to do that. Yeah, I had all kinds of things going on, you guys. So, 420. Oh, so you're April 20th. Let's see. My sister Carolyn is. She and my dad had the same birthday. April 28th. That's right. Carolyn's April 28th. And so she and dad were the April. Mom was March. It would have been March 29th. My grandfather was February, and his was always, he was actually born, I think, in a leap year. So we celebrated on the 28th. Grandpa was February. My mom was March. My dad was April, and Carolyn were April. I'm May. Patty's June. Sarah's July. We skipped August. I think that was because Grandma was in October. But I have two grandkids that are in August. September? Oh, nephew. And yeah, we've got somebody, and then my grandmother was October, and then I've got 3 of my grandkids are October. November, 2 of my nephews. December, one of my nieces, and then in January is one of my nephews. We cover all the whole months of my family. It's pretty crazy. All right. So, yeah, yes, my daughter was born May 15th. She was my birthday present. I was May 17th. So, as an appointment. Angie, did you have a live tonight and I missed it? But Larry's talking about a live. I know I was in on somebody's live a little while ago. I was cruising through things. Like I said, my eyes have been kind of fuzzy today, so I've been trying to flip glasses back and forth, but I'm not quite sure, but I'm good now. I'm really good. So, today, I am going to share a book that has not been out of print since it was published in 1936. Okay, get that. It has not gone out of print since it was published in 1936. The book is The Story of Ferdinand by Munro Leaf. You may recognize the book. Most everybody does. And I think I'll read it first before I go into the background of it and the impact that it had. It seriously was probably one of the most impactful children's books ever written and still carries an amazing message. And on this International Day of Happiness, yeah, never out of print. Julie, can you believe that? I mean, I was reading and I was like, what? Yeah, it's amazing. I can't imagine if I think I had this book as a child too. I was wondering where, yes, 1936 by Munro Leaf and Robert Lawson. Anyway, I'll just tell you a bit about it. So Munro Leaf wrote it in about 40 minutes. And he did it because Robert Lawson was his friend and was an illustrator and was having problems making ends meet. And he was trying to get it all together. So Leaf decided he would do this book and he would have Lawson do the illustrations, which are etchings. And then they gave it to a junior publicist, a junior editor. She was just barely getting started, and she grabbed it and ran with it. And here we are, so many years later, with it being the book that it is. So, for tonight, I'm going to read it first, and then I'm going to go back into some of the backstory about it, because it's a really amazing book. And, I'll tell you all the things that went from the book on. So the story of Ferdinand, and I actually have the book, but I also got it up on my iPad so that you could see the illustrations a little bit better. What is happening upstairs? Did you hear that? Okay. What? All right. Just Bob is literally chopping kindling out in either he's I don't know. Yep, he's oh well, I hope you can't hear him. He's okay. And not when I said, holy cow, is that an oxymoron? Or just coincident? Yeah, he's okay. He's up there. I think he's trying to cut kindling for the fireplace, but he has no idea that the sound carries through like it does. And you can probably pick it up. Oh, gosh. Let me just text him and tell him I can hear him. He's making a racket. Ah, this is so funny. You are making a racket. You are making a racket. Oh well. Okay, story time. The Story of Ferdinand by Munro Leaf. You'll see why it goes with the International Day of Happiness. First off, it's set in Spain. El Toro Feroz, Fernando. The Story of Ferdinand. Once upon a time in Spain, there was a little bull, and his name was Ferdinand. All the other little bulls he lived with would run and jump and butt their heads together. But not Ferdinand. He liked to sit just quietly and smell the flowers. He had a favorite spot out in the pasture under a cork tree. It was his favorite tree, and he would sit in its shade all day and smell the flowers. Sometimes his mother, who was a cow, would worry about him. She was afraid he would be lonesome all by himself. "Why don't you run and play with the other little bulls and skip and butt your head?" she would say. But Ferdinand would shake his head. "I like it better here where I can just sit quietly and smell the flowers." His mother saw that he was not lonesome, and because she was an understanding mother, even though she was a cow, she let him just sit there and be happy. As the years went by, Ferdinand grew and grew until he was very big and strong. Look at the side here on the tree, the markings on the tree. Oops, to show that. All the other bulls who had grown up with him in the same pasture would fight each other all day. They would butt each other and stick each other with their horns. What they wanted most of all was to be picked to fight at the bullfights in Madrid. But not Ferdinand. He still liked to sit quietly under the cork tree and smell the flowers. One day, 5 men came in very funny hats to pick the biggest, fastest, roughest bull to fight in a bullfight in Madrid. All the other bulls ran around snorting and butting and leaping and jumping so that the men would think that they were very, very strong and fierce and pick them. Ferdinand knew that they wouldn't pick him, and he didn't care. So he went out to his favorite cork tree to sit down. He didn't look where he was sitting, and instead of sitting on a nice, cool grass in the shade, he sat on a bumblebee. Well, if you were a bumblebee and a bull sat on you, what would you do? You would sting him, and that is just what this bee did to Ferdinand. Wow, did it hurt? Ferdinand jumped with a snort. He ran around puffing and snorting and butting and pawing the ground as if he were crazy. The 5 men saw him, and they all shouted with joy. Here was the largest and fiercest bull of all, just the one for the bullfights in Madrid. So they took him away for a bullfight day in a cart. Look at the vulture that sits above there on the spinner. What a day it was. Flags were flying, bands were playing, and all the lovely ladies had flowers in their hair. They had a parade into the bull ring. First came the banderilleros with the long, sharp pins with ribbons on them to stick in the bull and make him mad. Next came the picadores, who rode skinny horses, and they had long spears to stick in the bull and make him madder. Then came the matador, the proudest of all. He thought he was very handsome and bowed to the ladies. He had a red cape and a sword and was supposed to stick the bull last of all. Then came the bull, and you know who that was, don't you? Ferdinand. They called him Ferdinand the Fierce, and all the bandereros were afraid of him, and the picadores were afraid of him, and the matador was scared stiff. Ferdinand ran to the middle of the ring, and everyone shouted and clapped because they thought he was going to fight fiercely and butt and snort and stick his horns around. But not Ferdinand. When he got to the middle of the ring, he saw the flowers in all the lovely ladies' hair, and he just sat down quietly and smelled. He wouldn't fight and be fierce no matter what he did. He just sat and smelled. And the banderilleros were mad, and the picadores were madder, and the matador was so mad he cried because he couldn't show off with his cape and sword. So they had to take Ferdinand home. And for all I know, he is sitting there still, under his favorite cork tree, smelling the flowers just quietly. He is very happy. And that's the end of the story of Ferdinand. So, it's a very simple story, but the artwork is amazing. That was all done with etchings. And let me can't wait to hear the backstory. Oh, BS. So anyway, the story behind all of this, it saved his life. So think of 1936. What was the world like? What was going on? Let's see. There was an article written in the Washington Post in 2017 when the movie came out, the full Disney one, about this. So, and this is what they said in the New York Times or in the Washington Post about this. It was in December 12th, 2017. The project began as a lark, an author's hasty effort to write a children's book manuscript for his artist friend to illustrate. Yet the resulting picture book, The Story of Ferdinand, became an immediate bestseller and cultural touchstone. Both Adolf Hitler and Francisco Franco banned it. Gandhi and Franklin and Eleanor Roosevelt admired it. It was published in 1936, the story of the peaceful flower-sniffing bull, written by Munro Leaf and illustrated by Robert Lawson, is considered a classic of American children's literature and has never been out of print. The book is now the basis for the animated film Ferdinand, which was going to open in 2017. But the main character, voiced by John Cena, a 1938 Disney film adaptation, which was a animated one, won an Academy Award. And when they redid it, they did a whole bunch of revisions on it. But I found it fascinating that it was a book that was banned, and there's so much more to it. Not only that, it was some people, I mean, it covered the entire gamut of political thought. And Munro Leaf said that is not what his purpose was. When he wrote it on a wet Sunday afternoon in October 1935, a 29-year-old director of New York publishing house began a new children's story. Munro Leaf had written 2 books for boys and girls with his own pictures, but for some time he'd wanted to come up with one for his friend Robert Lawson. The artist needed work. He had only slight success so far in the illustrator for juveniles and was struggling to live off his fine etchings. The new story had to be tailor-made to Lawson's special talents. He could draw animals beautifully, but cats, dogs, and horses were everywhere in picture books of the day. So Leaf wanted something novel. He finally settled on the story of a bull. Although he had never been there and had never seen a bullfight himself, he set the fable in Spain. He called his hero Ferdinand, from Ferdinand and Isabella, the only Spanish names he knew. And the story had to be funny, so Leaf made the bull a gentle beast who prefers to sit in the shade of a cork tree and smell the flowers. He wrote it in 40 minutes, showed his friend. Lawson fell in love with it, and once he began the pictures dummy that evening. And they just went on, and it became such a fan. It was published September 11th, 1936, and the reviews were not good. And the book just slipped past Christmas. Then something remarkable happened. After the holidays, as other juvenile titles had been returned, the sales of Ferdinand suddenly jumped to 100 copies one week, 200 the next, and then climbed steadily, so that by 1938 it was selling 3,000 copies a week. Adults had discovered Ferdinand. Not only were they purchasing the children's book themselves, they were passing the simple fable to a peaceable Spanish bull onto their friends. By December of 1938, get this, Ferdinand had knocked Gone with the Wind off of the top of the bestseller list. Oh my gosh. Many were convinced it was political tract. Everyone from Franklin Roosevelt to Stalin was caricatured in the papers as the passive bull. Others said that the book was anti-Franco and that it was pro-Franco. And over the years, Ferdinand has been called a fascist and a communist, an anarchist and a pacifist. He's got the whole... Psychoanalysts have judged him as manic depressive, schizoid, lately homosexual. Seriously? I mean, serious, what people will reach for. And then when the Cleveland Plain dealer accused the book of corrupting the youth of America, the New York Times replied, "There are those who love Ferdinand for its own sake and who don't care whether he's a Nazi or a communist so long as he is true to himself." Among these was Munro Leaf himself. He says, "It was propaganda, all right," the author said at the time, but propaganda for laughter only. He insisted that laughter was one of the greatest forces of the world today. If the book fails to make you chuckle, there is no excuse for its existence as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, the admirers of the book included H.G. Wells, Thomas Mann, Gandhi. President Roosevelt requested a copy be sent to the White House. At the annual Newbery Award dinner, Eleanor Roosevelt was the guest speaker, and she apologized for being unfamiliar with the year's winner, Ruth Sawyer's roller skates. The only children's book she had recently read was was Ferdinand. Uh, in Nazi Germany, Hitler burned the translation for being degenerate democratic propaganda. And when Berlin fell in 1945, 30,000 copies were immediately printed and freely distributed among the children in a mission of peace. In its 50 years, it's been translated. Well, this was at the 50-year anniversary, so this is an old article that was done way back. It had this article was written. I'm reading here from was written in 1986. So that was the 50-year anniversary, and it had been at that time it had been translated into 60 languages and said to have sold at least 2.5 million copies worldwide, and it had been pirated and rewritten in the Soviet Union. It's the only American children's book available in Stalinist Poland and had a square in Warsaw that had been renamed Ferdinand. And it remained banned in Spain until Franco's death. Oh my gosh. I mean, seriously, in 1939, Walt Disney did not wander far from Lawson's original pictures for the animation that they did. And then it's just pretty amazing. But Munro Leaf was an American author and illustrator, of course, and he's written a lot of things. He did a whole bunch of books about, one of his first books was something about grammar can be fun. So he did a whole series of those with stick figures that he did. And I think I have his book on manners someplace. I think, pretty funny. He lived from 1905 to 1976. And then Robert Lawson was born in 1892 and lived till 1957. And he won the Caldecott Medal in 1941 and a Newbery in 1945 for Rabbit Hill. And they also did, was it Leaf that did Ben and Me, or was that Lawson? Leaf went to Harvard. I don't think he did. I think Robert Lawson did Ben and Me. Ben and Me was a book that was a story of a biography of Benjamin Franklin, and supposedly written by Amos the Mouse. And that was I think that was a Newbery winner too. And anyway, pretty amazing people. Yeah, what was the other one? I know what Lawson did. Lawson did Mr. Popper's Penguins. And if you know children's chapter books at all, Mr. Popper's Penguins came out in 1946, maybe, or so. Maybe it was after that. But it's still, to this day, a book that is used in Battle of the Books among kids to read because it's such a well-written book and one that the kids really enjoy reading. Yay! You know that one, Mr. So, Ben and Me. It takes. So that's, I just had to share some of that backstory of this book. On a day that, it is the International Day of Happiness, I love the fact that the very last sentence, the very last word of the book is happy. And he is very happy. And the whole book is just done so simply, and the illustrations, everything you can see in it. Let me go back here. You look at some of these, how the beautiful etchings that he did for these, the little flowers and the clouds. Yet some of these are so detailed. Like, look at the birds, the hills. You can still see the essence of the people back in there and the little village. I love this. They're all having fits. I love, there's one picture in here that I really, really like. I have, oh, this one. So I have a friend who, Carlos has, raises, oh, they're the they're kind of like, uh, the great big horses. Why can't I think of the ones? You know, the Budweiser horses? I can't think of the name, but they're black. And it's not Andaluvian. Anyway, and he does, they lead the parades like on Cinco de Mayo, and their horses are all dressed and have these beautiful, beautiful halters and saddles, and they march along, and the guys are all dressed up like this, and these horses just high step like you can't believe it, and they're ginormous horses. It's so fun to watch, and they have this beautiful, beautiful, you know, they're the way they're of the, no words today, over their hooves and everything. It's just, I just love that. I'm not coming up with the words today. One of those things. Anyway, that's what in this one, the details in this picture, when you think about that, you look at that. Look at the face of the horse. Every once in a while in his illustrations, there's faces that just stick out completely differently. Like this, the face of that woman is so different than the rest of the book. And it's just that one little element. I find them so fascinating. Anyway, so I was trying to think about what we could do for an art something to think about this. And I started looking up, and there is a Draw Happy. And it was something that was started quite some time ago, probably at least 20 years ago, I think maybe 15 years ago, where people would draw happy and they were submitting things. But I didn't want to go that thing. What I would like you guys to do, to your next sketch or art or piece or something, is whether you write it out or you sketch out about your happy. Can you draw your happy? Can you sketch your happy? Can you paint your happy? Can you write your happy? Sometimes it is, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. He obviously didn't open the flue right on the fireplace. Oh dear. So I'm laughing my head off. He's so funny. Anyway, so that's what I'd like us to do this week. To start off our week on our next sketch thing to do is to draw our happy. Whether it's sketching yourself while you're paint pouring, whether it's drawing your camera, like I will probably draw my camera, whether it's drawing a feeling or something that inspires the feeling. Maybe it's a picture of somebody special or something special. See if you can put it down in your sketchbook. And leave it and if you can add words, if it however you choose to do it. I mean, one of the ways that I might do it is I might start with like a bubble of myself, like a mind bubble in my head with the word happy in it. Let me change this back to here. So on my sketch pad, I might have, let me show this. So I might start with something like okay, I might start here. I've got it. With something like that. Whoa, so you can see. Just with myself with the speech bubble of happy. And then I've got room around it to add different things. I could put other bubbles and I could do different pictures in them. They don't have to be big ones. They don't have to be great big things. I could have my camera. That's funny looking. Let's see. There. Maybe draw my camera. Oh, there you go. See it? Something like that. And I can start with just doing quick sketches just to get it out of my head and to get it down. And then as it goes, it might be that I run into something I can't draw and I can write it. But then maybe I can figure out how to draw it later. And it's something that you can add on to. I think what this does, and what I've seen on some things and about various things about artists and what keeps them happy and what they like to do, but what this can do is it can give you something to go back and look at when you're stuck or not quite inspired. You can go back to your happy page, or maybe you just have a happy sketchbook, a little sketchbook or a few pages, and that's just what you do. And those are something that you refer back to when you need that boost. And it can be, sometimes it can be words, sometimes it can be a thought, sometimes it can be a quote. Like, let's pull up a quote. The woods would be very silent place if no birds sang except those who sang best. Yeah. Everything that is made beautiful and fair and lovely is made for the eye of one who sees, by Rumi. So just, that's what I'd like. A little bit of happy. Put some happy in your sketchbook. Something that it can give you a chance to go back to. And maybe it's a picture of Ferdinand. Maybe you draw Ferdinand. Oops. Whoa, there he is. Sitting by the flowers under a tree. You know, if you got to just go sit under a tree, what would make you happy? Anyway. Clydesdales, but there's another one, Percherons, and then there's another one. Frisians. Thank you, Frisians. He raises Frisians. That's what it is. Frisian horses. They're big. They're like Clydesdale. Thank you, guys. I was just... some days I have... you know, you get going with your brain too fast, and then the words don't want to catch up. I know. I would love that. It one of the things that I had been given the rodeo, about going to the rodeo. Julie said there's a big Ellensburg rodeo here in Washington, and my sister was there, living in Ellensburg at the time, and managed to get me press pass access. And unfortunately, I got really sick and could not go. And I was so bummed because I was going to get to go in and back and behind. But I have another friend who goes to a rodeo in Wyoming every year. It's a great big one. And we're just waiting for when things clear up and I can go head over to that because I would love to photograph that. And I've tried to photograph the wild horses that we have here in Washington. They're in eastern Washington. They're really not too far from my sister's house, and they tend to come out. You can see them on one of the roads if you know where to look. But it's not the time of year to get them out, and so I love photographing those. So it would be great fun. Googled it. Parisians, yep. Oh, wow. My happy would be the same as Ferdinand sitting under a tree here in Tucson. Things to put on my list of things to do. Gretchen at the ocean with her camera. Yes, that's me, Gretchen at the ocean with her camera, or someplace where the wild animals are. Yep. That's I think really if I get right down to it, probably one of the happiest places I ever was in the middle of wilds of Katmai National Park with all those Alaska brown bears in front of me and watching them just go after the salmon and just in their whole natural habitat and just being totally amazed and at peace with what they were doing and how they were and what glorious place it was. It was just so phenomenal. So, all right, I'm going to stop babbling because I'm going to find out what's going on upstairs with the crazy man up there with the chopping of the wood and the building of the fire and the making of the dinner. I don't know what he's doing, but he's up to something. Anyway, if you would like to join in on that happy assignment, not even an assignment, just something for yourself. In your sketchbook, put down your happies. Put it there, have that page, put a little sticky note on it so a tab sticks out. So whenever you're running to the spot where you're having a hard time with inspiration or you're down a little bit, turn to your happy page and see what it says and see what you can add to it. You might need to leave yourself more than one page. You might have to make a whole sketchbook of happy things. Wouldn't that be fabulous to have a whole sketchbook of happy? Yes, that would be amazing. So, thank you guys for, oh yeah, if you can see it, you can draw it. You know, sometimes I think too, we can draw what we don't see because we can put it into some kind of form that expresses that for us. And so push yourself, step outside the box a little bit, see where it goes, and have fun with this. All right, you guys, I'm laughing at you guys thinking about this. So anyway, again, the story of Ferdinand, a book that has never been out of print since 1936. A children's book, a simple little children's book in black and white with a red cover. Ah, he wrote it in 40 minutes. Just stunning. Simple is best, I think, on this when it comes to this. So for you guys, thank you so much for celebrating this International Day of Happiness with me. It's very appropriate that you're here because you guys helped make me happy. Doing this really does bring me a great deal of joy and happiness, and looking things and finding these connections and stuff. I had not even realized that this had book. I mean, I've read it hundreds of times, literally, and I did not know that it hadn't been out of print. It was one of those books that you pulled off the shelf and yeah, and it's in every kid's school library. It still probably is in every school library, and you know that says something for a book written in 19. It's the wood smoke man and the chopping of the kindling, nice and loud. They all wondered what was going on.
You need to be warm.
Bob, he just stuck his head in the door to explain. Sorry about the wood smoke. He didn't quite. The fire backed out of our wood stove. It does that every once in a while, even though you're heating it up. The wind kicked up around here today, so when it kicks up in a certain way, it'll send that smoke back down sometimes. So it was it. Fortunately, I love the smell of a campfire. It's one of those things that makes me happy. All right, you guys. Thanks so much for being with me, and I will catch you tomorrow night. Until then, keep looking for the beauty hidden in plain sight. It's all around you. It's in your mirror. It's inside you. It's in this group of people here. That we know for sure. And it's going to be in your sketchbook too. So until next time, let's dance this party out.
In the heat of the night, we could get lost in all the lights and sounds. Ooh, feeling alright. We won't go home, we will just stay here downtown. There's not just stars on the boulevard. They're in the light in your eyes. Oh, we don't need no black cards. I just need you by my side. We could be shameless, famous, running cool, with a love that leaves us weightless. Ooh, drop dead gorgeous, wow. Ooh, you got me feeling starstruck too. We could be famous. We could be famous. You blow my mind, looking like a model, better than usual. Yeah, you don't even try, not average or typical. I put you on a pedestal. There's not just stars on the boulevard. They're in the light in your eyes. Oh, we don't need no black cards. I just need you by my side. We could be shameless, famous, running cool, with a love that leaves us weightless. Ooh, try with a love that leaves us weightless. Ooh, drop that gorgeous, wow. Ooh, you got me feeling starstruck too.
Coming in.
We could be famous. We could be famous. We could be famous. We could be famous.